Okay, hello. Another update. This week, it feels like it's gone forever since the last video for some reason. But this week I have been working on the project at my current employer. And it's kind of difficult because like this project was supposed to be, well, it was overambitious from the start. But the contract was for like November last year, and I'm still working there. And I just got a call yesterday about how it should be, figure out a way to work together more. But it's kind of difficult to find a good way to balance this with my existing employer. Because I can't quit there and then continue working with this customer. We have to find some sort of arrangement. And I feel like it's a ton of fun working with that customer. And I have a lot of ownership in the solution itself. And I really want to see it get a bit further than where we are right now. But then like I got a call from someone I've been working with previously, which is like an awesome group of people. The project itself isn't like, it's very enterprisey, relatively enterprisey, which isn't like super awesome, but if you work with a lot of nice people, and also it pays really well, but then again you have Code Sandbox, which I want to work on, and other startup projects as well. And of course my own open source projects. And it's really hard to balance this stuff and do what feels right. And I guess I'm just like, it's not like poor me or anything. Like as developers, we are in a huge need. But I'm trying to figure out what to do from April. Because the whole point of this was to do more open source work and work with startups. But now I'm suddenly being dragged into more enterprisey kind of stuff. So I have to be a little bit careful, I think. Anyways, there's a new Overmind release. I was supposed to put some more stuff in here, but I'm going to learn from last time. If I just keep putting stuff into the release, it will never be released. So this release will be server-side rendering. And basically it wasn't that much work to make it run. It was actually simple stuff. But now you can create Overmind instances on the server as it receives requests. You can just do mutations on that instance. And then you just render out your application. And you get the HTML if it's React or some of the other ones. And then you can just call Overmind hydrate, and it actually gives you the mutations you did. Not the whole state, but only the mutations. And then you can rehydrate those mutations on the client. It's actually pretty cool. Sad thing is that with Vue, it's not possible to do this yet because we're using a plugin which gives a really great experience, but plugins are connected to the runtime, not the componentry you're rendering. So you can't change out the Overmind instance on the server, which kind of sucks. But Angular should also handle this pretty well. I didn't try it because it's just insane how much work it is to set up server-side rendering with Angular. And also the development experience, like with React as a server-side app, you can actually work with hot reloading on the client and actually hot reloading on the server as well. So you just work on it, and when you're done, you can just deploy it. You don't have to build anything and configure a ton of stuff, and like you have to do with Angular. So maybe I should talk about that project setup, because I'm using like TypeScript and both on the server and on the client, with hot reloading on the client and hot reloading on the server. It's actually a really cool setup, and it took some time to research it. So I'll make a note of that. I've also been iterating on this state machine concept. Like there's this project called XState, which has gotten a lot of attention because he's been going to a ton of conferences talking about finite state machines, which is like a very academic term, which makes me just by default, I don't know. But it is a good concept, but I don't think I quite understand how to use it yet. Like I can understand like what's happening, but I don't understand why I want it to happen this way. Because I never had like it's like with mutation, like immutability is so great because you can't mutate all over the place, but that was never my problem. Mutating stuff all over the place. So immutability had to solve something else. And I have this same feeling with state machines. Like, okay, you can show me what it does, all the charts and all the academic stuff, but give me some concrete example in an app where I actually feel it's a benefit. But anyways, the problem with state machines is the typing. So you can type it somewhat, and XState has some typing, but I tried a different approach because state machines are basically enums. So you have state enums and you have transition enums. So the state enums are the different states your machine can get into, and the transition enums are the enums representing the different types of transitions you can make. So like I have a lights machine here where I have a light that can be red or green, and then I have a transition which is a switch. So to make this work, I wanted to just define the machine straightforward, but it's impossible for TypeScript to consume these enums and then define the type based on those enums. So we have to use a factory, which is perfectly okay. Because the benefit there is that if you don't use TypeScript, you get the runtime type checking. So basically you pass in the state enums and the transition enums, and then it knows about those, and it can help you when you define the actual machine. So here we have to use a state enum. We have to define all our states, possible states. And then each possible state can have a partial transition, meaning that it needs some, like it doesn't even have to have a transition. But if it defines a transition, it only needs to be one of them. You don't have to define all transitions on all states. But the point is that if we look into the action here, we can see that when I transition the lights, I pass in the type of transition, and this is also actually typed. And then I create a new state, meaning that I don't say that the state, if the state is red, then move to green, and opposite. I can do very complex transitions. That is defined in the machine, and then I just do a transition. So I don't have to do all these checks, which can be very fragile. That's the point. So now all I do is I transition with a switch, and then it knows what state it's supposed to produce. But again, I need to get more hands-on with this, get some real examples. But it's really cool to see how it integrates with Overmind. Okay, I got an email last week, I think, or in the weekend, from Atlassian, which was pretty cool. Like the people behind Jira and stuff, they do a lot of open source. They have like React, beautiful D&D, and they have their own UI kit. And they basically asked me if I was interested in moving to Australia and work with them. I don't think it was like, there was like an interview process, but just being asked is really cool. But it's no chance that will happen. Like I'm not moving to Australia. Like we have a kid and grandparents living here, and yeah, my girlfriend is doing like a PhD thing, which is finishing this year. And yeah, no, it doesn't matter. But it's really cool to be asked, and I was kind of surprised why they didn't mention remote. They seem pretty eager to move people to Sydney. But anyways, that was super cool. And yeah, Anthem is released today. If you haven't played Anthem, Anthem game, it's gotten quite a bit of attention. Mostly bad, I think. But I tried the demo, and it's kind of fun to play it. Like I play games for like maximum of 1 hour, then I get tired of it. But it's fun to dive into new worlds, and but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. They have a really great basis for a good game. It's like with if you play any games like Destiny from the guys behind Halo. That also was quite of an empty shell when it was released, but it had like a good framework for putting in content. It's the exact same thing with Anthem. It's great core gameplay, and then there's just no limits to what they can put in there. Anyways, I'm rambling. Yes, so I'll try to get the release out next week. It's basically the same. Got some new stuff for Overmind planned, and I'll keep you posted. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend.